In order to have systemic oppression, you have to have all three of these things. So I'm just going to go over what they mean, all right? And then I'm going to give some examples. So the first thing we're going to look at is individual actions. This is what people usually think of when they think about, being racist. So an individual action can be a slur. It could be something that is an individual action, like when Hasan Minhaj goes to get Bethany for prom and the parents said, no, you can't go to prom because you're Muslim, right? Those are individual actions. So that's one individual acting on another. Now, down here we have institutional policies. So institutional policies can either be positive or negative. So you can have an institutional policy that impacts individuals negatively or positively, but those policies that are carried out have a weight and an impact. If you look in the third part of the Venn diagram, we have the ideas, right? That's where there's a light bulb, and it's the ideology you espouse. Sometimes organizations have an ideology they espouse. They say, for example, we believe in the freedom of all men. So if you look at the U.S. Constitution, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. The men who wrote that owned men as slaves. So their institutional policy. And they then voted on the fact that no one was allowed to own slaves like where they were. So all of them kept a house outside of the line so they could still own their slaves. So their institutional policies did not fit their ideology that they espoused. Okay? So when you get a conflict that involves individual actions, institutional policies, and ideology that's expounded or said, that is when you get systemic oppression. Just two things would be an individual action that combines with an institutional policy to exclude people from power. All right? Now, if you look at it, you say that I believe that men and women are all equal, but when my mom got divorced from my dad in the 1970s, she went to the bank to get a bank account, and the teller in Flin Flon would not let her get a bank account without my dad's signature because they had an institutional policy, even though the government of Canada and all of Canada said that men and women were equal, and women's lib, like the ideology was women are equal, but in reality, in that banking institution, she was excluded from power, economic power, because she was a woman. She could not get a credit card on her own, and a lot of women couldn't until about the 1980s in Canada.